Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest. Penn State women's hockey goalie Josie Bothun joins the show. Well, Josie, welcome to the podcast, and how's everything going?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Now, are you considering yourself a sophomore or still a freshman at the moment?
Um, I guess a sophomore now. I mean, freshman year just ended, so I guess I'm a sophomore.
Is it crazy to think that your first year of college is now over?
Yeah, it went by really fast. I mean, I guess it was a weird year, so time just kind of flew by.
Now, what have you been up to since the season ended a couple of months ago, besides just hockey and training, I guess?
Um, I've just been spending time with my family, because I haven't been able to see them that much. So I've just been home enjoying my time before hitting the ice again.
Nice. What are your off-season plans, and what do you hope to work on regarding your game for next season?
I'm training here in Minnesota. I have some goalie coaches here that help me out, and I plan on working on keeping myself more oh, an alarm. I'm planning on keeping myself more composed, just working on my feet and stuff like that, setting my feet.
Nice, nice. Now, what's the scene looking like in Minnesota? Because I know in some places gyms are kind of closed and ice time is hard to find. Is that the case in Minnesota, or are things a little bit more open compared to last year?
Things are a little bit more open. My training facility is fully open right now, so I have access to that. And things are looking good for the summer. Hopefully things continue to stay open. So
Nice,
I'm excited for that. Yeah.
nice. Well, I want to transition and start this podcast talking about the beginning of your hockey career and working all the way up to where you are now with Penn State. So you're from Wyoming, Minnesota. Talk about growing up there and how did you start playing hockey?
I actually grew up in White Bear and I moved to Wyoming when I was about 14. But I've come from a big family. I'm the youngest of 7 kids and we're a big hockey family. So I got inspired to play from my siblings and my parents because everyone played hockey. So that's kind of how I started. And then hockey became pretty serious for me when I was about 10 years old. And then I moved to Forest Lake when I was about 14. And I played for Forest Lake when I through high school. And so that was kind of where I started to take my game seriously, was kind of Bantams into high school.
Now, I'm also the youngest sibling as well, and one thing about being the youngest sibling is you always get strapped on the goalie pads and you get thrown in the net and you get pucks just ripped on you. Is that how you
So,
became a goalie, because being the youngest sibling, or was it another reason why?
yeah, kind of. One of my sisters played goalie, and my dad played goalie too. And I'm really close with my dad, so that kind of influenced me to put on the pads. And then I'm so competitive that I just loved it.
And who was your favorite player growing up?
Well, my dad and we would always watch like Dominic Hasek, like YouTube videos. So I really like the way he plays, and also I love the way Jonathan Quick plays. So those were probably my top 2 players.
Have you ever tried to implement like a Dominic Hasek save? Because he can make some ridiculous stuff out of nothing, which is pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, the poke. I'm very aggressive, and I like to compare myself like with Dominic Hasek in that way. Like I'll do anything to keep a puck out of the net, and sometimes you have to do some weird things in order to do that. So I like to think that sometimes I don't know, I can make crazy saves like him.
Yeah, definitely. And with Jonathan Quick, obviously he played with the Kings. He won 2 Stanley Cups with them. What was your reaction when you saw him win those cups, being your favorite player?
I mean, just seeing like a goalie like him, like his athleticism and his quickness and the way he plays, like that, it was just pretty cool to see. And I know that he's just very motivated, like watching him talk and interviews and stuff. He's just a great goalie.
Now, before Penn State, you played for Forest Lake Area High School. Talk about your experience there and what you take away from it.
Well, my experience at Forest Lake was really interesting because I started playing on the girls' high school varsity team my first 2 years, and then I transferred to the boys' side. So it was definitely very interesting, and I feel like playing on the boys' side, it really pushed me to get ready for college hockey at Penn State. And I think it was the right move for me, definitely. So I definitely think that my experience at Forest Lake helped prepare me for college hockey.
Now, what's the difference between girls hockey and boys hockey being a goaltender?
Things kind of like, well, boys obviously have the physical side, so that kind of plays into different things. Also, boys tend to be bigger and have like quicker releases. So that definitely was an adjustment to make going back to the girls. And girls, I think, are a little bit more patient with the puck. So I think those are kind of the major adjustments that I had to make going from girls to boys and then back to girls.
Nice. Now, playing boys hockey, obviously there's hitting involved. I guess, like, what was your experience with that when someone might be jamming for a puck and then one of the defensemen comes and tries to protect you?
Um, it was definitely kind of weird at first adjusting to it just because, I mean, girls can be like physical, but it's just like it's not as physical as boys. Girls kind of just give a shove, but guys are willing to like drop the gloves and like, really get after it. So it was different for me. I mean, I didn't let myself get phased by it because I knew if I got phased by the physicality, I wouldn't be able to do my job. So I think ultimately I wasn't really focusing on the physicality of things. I was ultimately focusing on stopping the puck.
Now, we had a poll on our Instagram story a few days ago saying, if hitting should be allowed in women's hockey? I want to get your opinion on that. Do you think hitting should be allowed in women's hockey?
I mean, it I feel like it already kind of does happen. I feel like it should be allowed just because I mean, I don't really know. That's like a hard question. I don't really spend time thinking about it, but I think it should be. I mean, I had a conversation about this with my teammate a couple months ago, and just like I think girls can hold their own too, and like if they properly learn how to hit, I think that could maybe create the next step for women's hockey. And I feel like a lot of people watch men's hockey because of the physical aspect of it. So I feel like if girls had that physical aspect too, we might get more fans, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. So I think if girls learn how to properly hit and properly be physical, I think that could be like a great addition to the game.
I think the one thing with hitting in women's hockey is it'll make officiating a lot easier because sometimes you see officials are really strict on what is a body check and what isn't a body check, and then there's other officials that are really lenient on it, and it can kind of
Hmm.
change the course of a game. I think if you add hitting in women's hockey, you kind of get rid of that line of what's a body check and what's not a body check, so it'll be easier to officiate the game.
For sure, yeah. I like that point.
So, thinking about your days in high school hockey, what's your favorite memory overall?
Um, I think my favorite memory would be my freshman year of high school. We went to state and we weren't supposed to go because our rival next town over was stacked with girls who were committed to Division 1 schools. So we beat them and we weren't supposed to. And it was my first year playing varsity hockey. So I was just really stoked because we were kind of the underdogs and we made it to the state tournament.
And how did your high school hockey experience help prepare you for Penn State?
Um, I it helped prepare me because it it really taught me what I value like in hockey and what I wanted out of the next level because I knew as a freshman I knew I wanted to play for as long as I possibly could, and I love to transform or be on a team. I love to be on a team where I can develop and where I can help other girls develop. So I think just like learning from other people, learning from different coaches, and learning new techniques and stuff like that kind of helped me prepare for Penn State. And I feel like Forest Lake High School and just that the Minnesota high school system in general really helped me prepare.
Now, being from Minnesota, what's it like being a player in that high school hockey scene? Because I'm from the East Coast and I've seen the YouTube clips of the state tournament at the XL, and it's pretty crazy how a high school hockey game can sell out an entire NHL stadium. I think it's really cool. I guess what's it like being a player in that atmosphere?
Well, it's just amazing. Like hockey is just such a big part of Minnesota culture in general. Like we have Hockey Day Minnesota, we have a state tournament, and it ultimately is something that brings people together. And I think that's really cool because like if Hockey Day is going on and you walk into any place, you'll see it on TV. Hockey Day Minnesota. It's amazing to just be a part of and to witness. We go to state tournament every year. We watch the state tournament every year. it's so amazing, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Now, is it weird talking to some of your teammates who aren't from Minnesota just about that hockey scene? Because it's kind of hard to understand if you're not from Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, all the girls I play with usually they travel a lot, and like they go on road trips that last a couple days, and we never really did that. Our longest road trip was 3 hours north. I never really experienced traveling before, and all of these girls that I'm playing with have. So that was kind of different, and it was cool for me to learn. And they just thought it was cool that everything was so close for us, and that hockey was so competitive kind of everywhere in the state.
Now, what was your recruitment process like, and why did you choose to go to Penn State?
Um, well, Kempersall was kind of recruiting me at Princeton as well, and then he made the switch to Penn State. So he was recruiting me at Princeton, and then I went and I played in the NAHA tournament in Vermont, and he saw me play there, and then he started to recruit me for Penn State once he got settled. So um, I really like the coaching staff at Penn State, and I really like the atmosphere there, and the girls I play with are amazing. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. Like, I almost didn't even visit because I was Penn State kind of came so late in my recruiting process, and I was kind of finalizing or narrowing down my schools. But then I flew out there and I did an unofficial visit, and I really enjoyed the school, and I really could see myself going there, and I kind of fell in love with it.
Now, what was the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey? I guess with the speed of the game or just the players, since the shots are a lot faster and a lot more precise than in high school?
Yeah, college hockey was definitely an adjustment. I think all around, just like learning how to be away from home and learning how to manage school, and learning how other people play, just kind of making mental notes and being mature about how I play. Like, you can't, for me, it's about, I need to learn to stay calm and learn how to stay composed. And it's just different in college hockey. People really analyze your game and expose your weaknesses, so you almost have to adapt and overcome a lot quicker.
And talking about playing under Coach Campersall, what have you learned under him so far in your first year? Because everyone I've talked to at Penn State absolutely loves him. Everyone thinks he's such a great head coach.
Yeah, I learned a lot from Kempersall. He just he really loves the game of hockey, and I think that's one of the most important things. Like, you can preach winning, but he also preaches, the love for the game and playing for each other. And I think that's such an important message to, like, play for your teammates and play for yourself and play because you love it. And he really highlights to love the game, and everything's not, winning's important, but not everything's about winning, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And when you reflect on this past year, what do you think is the biggest improvement you've made to your game?
I think I've matured a lot in this past year, from looking at my first series against Lindenwood to looking at my stretch down the back half of the year. I feel like I really calmed down, and I learned how to make, adjustments to my game fairly quickly. And with the help of, like, the coaching staff and my fellow players, I really learned how to, play the puck and, read what players are able to do.
Yeah, and your team had a very large freshman class. I think it was 9 players. How did the upperclassmen help your transition into college hockey? Players like Natalie Heising and players like Mallory Uline.
I love both of them. I'm, I actually can remember I was really nervous for our first series, and Natalie, like, I didn't really know where to stand going up to the line, and kind of Natalie came up to me and she was like, "Hey, you're our goalie. Like, here we go." And I feel like that really helped me calm down. And they're just great leaders and great people to lean on for support, especially during freshman year.
Yeah, and Penn State was obviously one of the best teams in the country throughout the regular season, constantly being ranked in the top 10. How did you deal with the pressure of having that ranking, and what was the key for the success that your team had in the regular season?
I mean, like, rankings are cool and all, but we were just focused on that next game, and where we wanted to be at the end of the year. And for me, I was just taking it one shot at a time, one game at a time. And the rankings were cool because we were ranked for the first time in our program history. So that was amazing. But everyone was really just focused on, that next game and what we could improve on to be better.
Now, what's it like playing in the CHA? And just talk about that conference because obviously it's a little bit of a smaller conference compared to other conferences in college hockey. But as a goalie, what's it like playing in that conference?
I think the CHA is kind of underrated. I think there are some pretty good players in our conference, like from RMU and from Syracuse. Like there are some girls on those teams that know how to play. And I just think that our conference is really underrated, compared to like the WCHA and conferences like that.
Now, you played in the CHA semifinal against Syracuse. Unfortunately, you lost that game. What do you think went wrong during that game, and how are you going to use that game heading into next year for motivation?
I think what went wrong in that game, I think we just all panicked. And I think because we were expected to make it out, to win that conference. And I think we all kind of hit the panic button. And I think next year we just need to play our game and do what we know how to do, play our hockey. And I think if we play our game and we calm down and we take it to them from the first period, I think we have a good shot at winning our conference next year.
Now, your team did not make the national tournament. In your opinion, do you think your team should have made it to the national tournament? And just what was your reaction to that situation?
I think so. I think we should have been there over a couple of teams. And obviously we were disappointed from that because we were all together when they were reading off who made it and who didn't. We were obviously disappointed when we heard the news, but nothing's given. Like you have to earn it. And next year, I think we're going to make sure that we earn it.
Now, this year's college hockey season was obviously a lot different compared to other seasons in the past. What are some challenges you faced, and how did you deal with those challenges because of the pandemic?
Yeah, we would have girls, we are one of our captain got diagnosed with COVID actually. And that was hard. Like during one of our seasons, like you just never know who's going to get COVID and how that'll affect our team. So we just had to, be prepared for everything and mask up and do what we had to do. So we were able to play, and we were one of the most disciplined teams. And I think we were one of the only teams to play 20 games. So that's huge, but we did our part. We were disciplined, and yeah, I think that was hard because we obviously people want to experience college. But we did our part, and I think that was ultimately really beneficial because we were able to play hockey, and that's what we all came there to do.
And Penn State also had to deal with a lot of schedule changes throughout the season. There was a lot of postponements and changes that happened to your schedule. How did you mentally stay prepared for all those schedule changes and postponements? And what was the key for maintaining flexibility for this season?
I mean, just looking at every game as an opportunity, and every game that got rescheduled, you're like, okay, well, we get to play again. Like it's just an opportunity to play hockey during these hard times. And like I said, everyone did their part, so we were able to play hockey. Like every single girl on our team made sacrifices, so we were able to play hockey, and that was amazing. And I think just taking that and thinking, we have the opportunity to play, and everyone's making these sacrifices, we were okay. Like that, I think that's what mentally got a lot of us through it.
Now, was it weird not playing in front of any fans this year, and how'd you adjust to that, especially as a goalie?
Yeah, it was weird not playing in front of fans, but like I said, there are some sacrifices we have to make. So it's at least I get to play, I mean, yeah, there's no atmosphere, but that's okay because I get to play hockey.
Did the cardboard cutouts make a difference? Because I know talking to some players, they said they did, and then other players said they didn't even realize it at all. Where were you, I guess, on that? Or did you notice them or not really?
Yeah, because they're kind of right behind me. I definitely noticed them, and I had my brother had my nephew in the stands, and he was in one of the front rows. So I would always go over and tap his little cardboard cutout, just acknowledging the support. And I think that's huge that people did that because it shows how many people support our program.
Yeah, especially with all the dogs in one end of the ice. I thought that was a nice little touch regarding the
Mhm.
cardboard cutouts.
For sure, yeah. I I like seeing the puppies up there.
Now, Penn State was one of the few teams to let parents go to the games. Did you get to take advantage of that?
Yeah, my parents actually came to a lot of our home series, which was nice because it's hard. It was hard this year. Like I missed my family a lot, and just from the pandemic and everything, things were hard. So it was great to have my family come and show their support.
Now, 3-on-3 overtime was also introduced to college hockey this year. As a goaltender, what was that like, having players having more space on the ice and having more offensive opportunities to score goals?
The 3v3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was fast. Like you couldn't, like with 5-on-5, if it's in the offensive zone, you have like a little time to like acknowledge the breakout. But uh, for me, I always had to just pay attention to what was going on and what players were flying behind defense and like stuff like that. So it was definitely interesting. It was a lot faster, but it was really competitive. So I enjoyed it.
And what's the mental side like for you during those 3-on-3 overtime situations? Because obviously there's a lot more odd man rushes that happen compared to 5-on-5.
Yeah, ultimately you just have to give your team a chance to win. And I mean that's my mentality with 5-on-5 too. But like just, being the backstop when my team needs me, like I know I'm there for my team and I know my team's there for me. So if one of us messes up, like if I mess up, I know my team's got my back. And if they mess up, I've got their back. And that's ultimately the mentality I take in like high pressure situations.
Now, what are some of your goals and expectations for next year for yourself and for the team, obviously?
Um, I just I mean, obviously, like, you don't want to look at stats or anything. So I'm just focusing on, getting good wins for my team and hopefully having my team go to the Frozen Four or national championship. Like that's ultimately the goal for everyone. So, I just think like if we, train hard this summer and knuckle down, we're gonna get there next year. And I'm excited to see what we do.
Yeah, next year's Frozen Four is at Pagula. Does that make you even more motivated to get there?
Yeah, I think it adds an extra edge, and I think our team really wants to make that Frozen Four and prove to people that we can get it done.
Now, your teammate Kiara Zana was nominated for the Patty Kazmaier Award. She was a top 10 finalist. What was your reaction to that news, and just how good of a player is she from a goaltender's perspective?
I think she's amazing, and I was so proud of her for getting nominated for that, especially as a freshman. Like that's insane. And playing with Kiara, she's very smart and very good with the puck and very fast in the offensive zone and in the defensive zone. She just has a presence, and I think as a goalie, I really appreciate her because she can really get back and help in the defensive zone. And she, like I said, she just has a presence and it's unmatched. Like I think she's one of the best players I've ever played with.
Now, I have to ask you about this. So, during the CHA semifinal, there was a little incident with the bus, how you had to basically get carted off on like one of those like pulley things. Just talk
Yeah.
about that because I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, me and the goalies were just we were actually in our gear on the bus too, which was hot and like it was really hot in there and it was really funny. So we were like, I don't know, it was we had to get carted from practice and then on the bus and it was just, I mean, it was hilarious. We all made fun of it.
And were you wearing your goalie mask like on the bus?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. How hot was it though? Like, did you have to drink like gallons of water after that? Because being in a bus,
Yeah.
just like going to school on a summer day, is ridiculously hot. But adding the 100 like pounds of pads feels like makes it even worse.
Yeah, I was drinking a lot of water. There's a picture of me actually. I'm like sitting on the bus playing Candy Crush. So that that picture is pretty funny. But yeah, that was not expected. I was not expecting that at all. But I mean, it was funny. So it's definitely a memory for me.
Definitely. Now we're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions. My first question to you is: besides women's hockey, what other sports do you like to watch at Penn State?
I I really like to watch us. I watched softball this spring and I watched a couple soccer games. I played soccer in high school, so I really enjoy watching the soccer teams play and I think they're both really good. So yeah, I hope to see more. Like I want to go to a basketball game at some point. I feel like that'd be cool.
Do you plan on going that white out next year for football? Because that's obviously the biggest, I think, not just college
Yeah,
sport event, but just sports event in general.
yeah, for sure. It's kind of tough because we weren't allowed in Beaver this year, but like I think the football games are definitely going to be a plus for us next year, and I can't wait to experience them.
That's awesome. Yeah, especially the women's soccer team, because someone from my high school plays on the Penn State women's soccer team, so I find that pretty cool.
Yeah, really. I have a friend actually from Minnesota. She went to Breck High School. She plays on their soccer team too.
Oh, that's awesome. Small world, though, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, who has the best style on the team? And I'm going to say yourself, and I'm not the only one who feels this way. Your teammate, Jess Cherokee, says you have the best on ice style compared to anyone on the team. What's your reaction on that? And who do you think has the best style on the team?
Like my pads and stuff.
Yeah, she said it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, that's nice. I am gonna have to say, let me think. I don't know, just like Kiara's style is pretty good. Like just watching her, I don't know, just the way she carries herself, you're like, wow, that girl's got like swag. Like
Nice.
yeah, just the way she carries herself and the way she, I don't know, looks on the ice is just like wow, you know.
Who has the best off ice style, in your opinion?
Amy Dobson probably.
Nice. What does she wear before games?
She just wears like she's like high end clothes, and she has really, I don't know, like her style when we have to dress up before games is just always on point. You just know when she walks in that she's gonna be wearing something nice.
Nice. Now, if
Hmm.
there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself?
That's a good question. I don't know. Um, I don't know. Maybe like Selena Gomez or something.
Nice, nice. I can see that. She's a good actor.
Yeah.
Now, what is your favorite TV show to watch then, I guess, tracking off the movie answer?
Hmm. I really like to watch Criminal Minds. That's a good
Nice.
show.
I've
Hmm.
only seen one episode and it kind of freaked me out, so I haven't really watched any other since. It was this one where he like kidnapped Reed in like some basement in Georgia and he was like had like problems. So it was a pretty scary episode. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Oh, I think I have. Was it the one where they were like trying to drug him or something?
I think so. It's the guy
Yeah.
from Dawson Creek who plays the villain.
Yeah. I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah,
scary episode.
yeah. It's not that show's definitely not for everyone, but I just find like Criminal Minds and CIS, like stuff like that, very interesting.
Definitely, definitely. Now, who's the funniest on the team?
Let me think. That's hard. I don't know. Just like it's either Jess or Liv, I think. Jess Cherokee or Liv Walleen are definitely two people that make me laugh the hard. Or even my roommate, Alyssa Machado. Like those girls make me laugh so hard.
Now, as a goalie, I have to ask you this: who's the best chirper on the team? Because you're usually hearing all the stuff that's said on the ice.
Probably Liv.
What type of stuff does she say? Has she ever drawn a penalty? Because that's something that's important too.
Yeah, she's drawn penalties. I just the type of stuff she says, I don't know, like her and I kind of banter at practice, so we kind of give each other crap. Like if she scores on me, she'll chirp me, but if I stop her or she makes like a cheap play, I'll definitely chirp her. So her and I just kind of have an on ice banter, but we're really close, so it's just, I don't know, it's kind of good competition.
Definitely. What music do you like to listen to, and which arena has the best warm-up mix in your opinion? Because that fires me up sometimes. I don't know. Some players don't. Some players say they don't notice. I kind of don't believe them because there's a good warm-up mix, it fires you up, even the fans.
Yeah, I really liked RIT's warm up mix when we were at RIT. We have a really good warm up mix too. But I don't know. What was your first part of your question again? I'm sorry.
Just like what music do you like to listen to in general
Oh,
besides warm-up mix, obviously?
I like to listen to like the big booty mix that we play.
Oh, those are good.
We're yeah, when we're doing off ice stuff, like that always fires me up because we're all listening to the same thing and we're all kind of jumping around and getting hyped up for the game. So definitely probably the big booty remixes.
I'm surprised the two guys that make it, two friends, aren't as popular as they are because I don't think people realize like they make those like they made like 30 of them, I think.
Yeah, I didn't even know like those remixes were a thing until about a year ago, and then I really got into them when I got to college.
Yeah, every hockey team listens to them. It's kind of funny how it works out.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, back to some hockey questions now. My first question to you is what should be done to help grow women's hockey, in your opinion?
I just think having, more support from like having women, obviously like women are doing their part to advocate it, but just having more advocation on like TV, um or in like newspapers, or having like men's NHL teams like advocate for it more. I think a lot could be done to grow women's hockey, and just putting more women's hockey advocates in the press. I feel like that will grow the game.
Yeah, and I guess another question I have for you is the World Championships were canceled and rescheduled. What was your thoughts on that entire situation that happened?
I just think I was upset with it just because the men's had or the men's had theirs going on, and theirs were like perfectly scheduled, and they were still having games, and then the women's got canceled, and I was very upset with that because these women work so hard to play on that stage, and like it's so important to everyone, pretty much every women's athlete. So I just think taking that away from them would have been a shame. It would have been very disappointing, very unacceptable. But I'm happy that they got it rescheduled.
Now, what advice would you give younger players who are trying to pursue a Division I college hockey scholarship?
I just think like love the game, make sure you're working hard. Don't be afraid to ask for help and ask for critiques, because having, an outside opinion really helps. I have a lot of people I ask for help. Like I have a lot of goalie coaches, and just getting different opinions from different people can really help somebody grow and take their game to the next level.
Now, do you have any shout outs you like to give to any of your teammates, family members, or friends you might have that might not play hockey?
Um, Honestly, shout out to my parents for putting up with a weird goalie kid over the years, and my family, and obviously my teammates who are awesome people because they make me better. Um, and yeah, my sister, especially my sister Elsa, she played at Union College. She actually really got me into hockey, so definitely her.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Josie. I really appreciate it. I wish you all the best in this off season. Take care, stay safe, and hopefully next year I'll see you guys in person to play a game.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
No problem. Now, one question I want to ask